Refugee settlements are developed in an emergency situation. UNHCR's mandate is to protect and help people who are forced to flee their home. And while we try to find alternatives to camps, the reality that often refugees and forcibly displaced persons find themselves in means that settlement and shelter are often first priority. Millions depend on UNHCR's aid to live in sustainable shelter and for the management of the settlements they live in. And millions are now living in climate-vulnerable hotspots where investment in resources and infrastructure is essential to adapt to an increasingly inhospitable environment. Frameworks and tools for planning are essential for sustainable settlements that improve quality of lives. And while requirements vary in different settlements, there are certain actions to account for the provision of shelter and the development of infrastructure to reduce environmental impact and for better quality of life.
To meet these rising needs, EPFL's Laboratory of Construction and Architecture, called the FAR Lab, delivered a catalogue for sustainable humanitarian infrastructure.
The infrastructure catalogue is intended to support decision-making regarding basic infrastructure for humanitarian settlements. Things such as drainage culverts, tap stands, retaining walls and roads that are required to provide basic services for refugees. The catalogue presents information about the engineering designs, construction requirements and environmental impacts in formats that are both accessible and useful for UNHCR staff and their partners in the field.
Building sustainable shelters is especially critical to the well-being of those living in the settlements. Again, the UNHCR looked to the FAR Lab for a solution.
In collaboration with EPFL's IT for Research unit, we developed a web app that supports decision-making regarding humanitarian shelters. Users input basic information about a shelter design, including the geometry, materials, the lifespan and the costs. And the app calculates parameters including environmental impacts, habitability, affordability and technical performance. These parameters can be compared across different shelter designs, enabling decisions to be made about shelter design and procurement.
In the field, the catalogue and the app both support easier, effective decision-making for shelter and infrastructure design.
I would like to speak with you today about the Shelter Sustainability Tool, which is basically a supportive, comparative assessment of different shelter designs in multiple locations across the globe. Basically, we just upload the BOQs and general information such as the context or location, and the tool automatically generates the habitability of this design as well as the environmental impact, such as the embodied carbon footprint as well as the embodied water usage. We benefit from this tool as a reference to our future shelter design as well as enhancement of the current and existing shelter designs for the greater benefit of the refugees that we serve. Thank you.
The app supports climate resilience by enabling decisions about humanitarian shelters to be made taking into account environmental impacts, while also considering essential parallel considerations of habitability, technical performance and affordability.